Hi, Jim Henge here. I'm the president of IBG Enterprises. We are a product development, manufacturing, and distribution company. The main thing you learn to determine a good quality rod is what they call spining the blank, or some people call it spline. And by that, every graphite rod has a natural bend to it. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to locate that bend, and on a spinning rod, the guides go opposite the bend. A casting rod, the guides go on the bend. To find out if your rod is built correctly, you take your rod, you put it in a 45-degree angle, and you can't have your reel on it, okay? And you take the rod, have the guides up, and put it in the hook set bend, and see where that rod turns, okay? And if you notice with this rod here, it's turning towards the spine. See where these guides are ended up? This rod actually, being that well-known high-priced rod, is not made correctly. What happens if your guides are not placed properly, you're bending that rod in a direction it's not designed to bend in, and you're putting undue stress. And normally those are the rods that, will break when you're using them fishing, or throughout time, from being bent in that wrong direction, they'll break down and not act properly. With our Seagrass series rods, if you take that rod, have that guide facing away from you, put it in that hook set bend, see where these guides go, straight up and down. That's what you want to look for in your rod. When I explain this to a lot of people that have been fishing their whole lives, even some professional fishermen, they've never heard of that before. And the reason you haven't heard about it is they really don't want you to know about it, because if you knew how to check your rod, you would not buy that rod if it's not built properly. So again, without a reel, check your rods. Take that rod, put it in a 45-degree angle, and boom, hook set bend, and that guide should turn straight up. The importance of spining a blank not only is for the durability of that rod, but more importantly is your hook set. If your guides are not placed properly, when you go to set that hook, that rod is going to want to turn to load before it loads, so you're not going to get a true positive hook set. Another thing, I don't know, some of you fishermen with heavier rods might have seen in the past or experienced in the past, you're fighting a big fish and that rod wants to turn in your hand. That's actually that rod turning towards the spine. So what happens is not only are you fighting the fish, but you're fighting the rod also. Spining, to me, is the only thing that determines whether you have a good quality rod or just a fancy name and a high price. Jim Henge with iBig Fishing Rods, with the Seagrass collection. iBig, fish with faith.